Hello, my name is Miguel Ángel Ríos León, and in today's video I'm going to reflect on the last sessions that we learned in the subject of translations in the classroom, and more especially what stood out for me in terms of ProC and translation in the European Union. As for the table of context, I'm not going to summarize previous sessions, but I'm going to tell what surprised me, what I found challenging, one competence that stood out for me, and finally a personal reflection of how my perception has changed about the translation, business translation profession. Number one, what surprised me? Well, one thing that really surprised me was how structured and competitive the world of translation is. I had no idea about ProC and the website, and before these sessions, I thought that ProC was mainly a website to find translation jobs. However, I realized how much importance is given towards visibility, towards networking, and reputational building. Also, elements such as Q2C participations and terminology discussions and profile optimizations are not just optional extras, but they are part of the identity of a translator. Besides, in the case of the European Union, what surprised me the most was the organizations that the EU institutions work. They're not something individual, they are not isolated, but they work among different systems, international, and they shared terminology based on IET, and collaboration between departments are essential between one another. Here we can see this percentage on what the EU translates, which is lawmaking, student communication, official documents. Secondly, what I found challenging was the level of responsibility involved in professional translation. Not only consistency, but also the correct terminology, referencing and quoting precedents, and all the assuring process that has to be dealt with. The level of precision requires not only linguistic ability, but also strong research skills and attention to detail. And finally, one competence that stood out for me clearly, it was a technological competence. In fact, the work of a translator does not consist on knowing how to use terminological databases, corpora, CAT tools, or even machine translation system effectively, but also to evaluate them critically, to know how to ensure consistency, how to be accurate, how to be reliable, because it's just not only about using them, but know how to use them. And finally, reflections. I wanted to include this quote by Umberto Eco, which is "The language of Europe is translation." And before these sessions, I used to think that translation was mainly a linguistic and cultural activity, but now I understand that it is a highly professionalized and technology-driven collaborative field, and it requires continuous learning with the use of new tools, with AI, by maintaining terminological consistency, and so on.